Some may think of her as childish. They aren't exactly wrong there. While she wields the impressive power to manipulate the cold, which can certainly be handy, she is, how do I put this, an idiot. This said fairy declares herself to be the absolute strongest there is. Although she's got some competition after Legacy, I will refer to said being as Cirno. Hello, Magi here, and welcome back to another episode of Character Profile, the series where we take an in-depth look of a character from games, printworks, fan-related stuff, and anything that can be attributed to the ice fairy of Kinsokyo that is Cirno. So without further ado, let's begin the character profile, Cirno. Name and their meaning. Now this section is going to be a short one. Thank bloody goodness. The last 5 were long as hell. Her known name is Cirno. No last name as of now, or ever to be honest. The name has an unknown origin. It may be based on English chill, chilled, or chillness as the name's pronunciation, which is Cirno. The earliest known English translation of the text, which you'll see on the screen, is in her Phantasmagoria profile. Character appearance. Cirno's appearance and height seems to be comparable to a humanoid child. Her game sprites in both the main and fighting spin-off showcases it. When being compared to the other shorter characters, she's about a head shorter than Remilia, while Suika has a few pixels more than Cirno, making her the smallest in the roster in the fighting spin-off she was in. Her design in EOSD, PCB, and DDC shows that Cirno has aqua-colored eyes and hair. She wears a blue ribbon, light pink blouse, blue jumper dress, and seems to be wearing white socks. She also has icicle-shaped wings. In Phantasmagoria and Hiso Tensoko's official art, her ribbon is green instead of blue, and her sprite in Phantasmagoria still keeps the blue ribbon. In Fairy Wars, her bow is once again blue. Her blouse has been changed to white and she seems to have bigger eyebrows. That's due to the fact that it was drawn by Makoto Hirosaka. It's been said that Cirno is one of the easiest designs Zune has done. If it's simple and it works, roll with it. Her alternative outfit in Phantasmagoria is the same as her normal outfit, except her bow is a dark shade of green, her blouse appears light purple, and her dress is purple as well. Appearance in games and print work. Cirno's first appearance would be in EOSD, when Reimu or Marissa go to investigate the Scarlet Mist. They're traveling across the Misty Lake where they encounter Cirno in the second stage. It didn't take long for the girls to defeat Cirno and continue on. Her next appearance would be in PCB. She showed up when Kinsokyo was still in winter, even though it should have been spring. The thing is, she attacks Reimu, Marissa, or the new playable character, Sakuya at the time, but has no dialogue before or after she was defeated, so we're not entirely sure why she had appeared. The next time we see her, it would be her first time being a playable character in Phantasmagoria during the flower incident. Cirno was one of the characters who didn't care why the flowers were blooming unnaturally and instead wanted to enjoy herself. Cirno's next appearance would be in a spin-off, Shoot the Bullet. Here Aya is taking pictures of the girls of Kinsokyo and their Domaku, and Cirno is one of them. She appears in stage 2-1, 2-3, and 2-5. She pops up in Hiso Tensoko as a playable character, one of the only characters to have a story mode. Cirno ventures out because she believes she saw a Dai Dada Bochi. A Dai Dada Bochi is a giant mythical yokai. Her next appearance was Fairy Wars. The cool thing was that this game was strictly dedicated to her as she was the only playable character. The story didn't begin from the game, but a manga chapter instead. There's a special chapter which details the events that had led to Cirno having a war against the fairies, hence the name. She shows up once more during the religious craze that was Hopeless Masquerade. This time she's only a background character in the Halls of Dreams, Great Mausoleum, and Yokai Tanuki Forest. She's seen floating and occasionally making a shocked expression. Cirno appears in the next game, DDC. With the girls' weapons going out of whack, they go out to figure what's going on. Here it plays exactly like PCB because once more, she's the stage 1 mid-boss, trying to stop Reimu, Marissa, and even Sakuya once more with no dialogue before or after her defeat. I'm feeling there's a pattern here. Her last game appearance as of this video would be Impossible Spell Card. She was the first day boss. While she fought Seija, it could be due to the wanted site about said screen reversing yokai. Let's look at the print works. Her first appearance in a print work was in Bohemian, where Aya interviewed Cirno, learning that said fairy was eaten by a giant toad. She later showed up in an extra of The Wind, but as a cameo with no dialogue. Her next appearance would be in Perfect Momentum, where Q is making an article about the ice fairy. Her next appearance would also be with her kind. She's in Strange and Bright Nature Deity as a secondary character. She shows up in Silent Sinner, but only as a cameo in the prologue in chapter 9. She appears in another print work with the Three Fairies of Light in Oriental Sacred Place as a secondary character. She shows up in Inaba of the Moon and Inaba of the Earth in chapter 12 as a cameo. In Waldenhorn Hermit, Cirno has quite a bit of appearance, although all her cameos, but it's better than nothing. She's in chapter 2, 16, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 33, and 36. Damn, you really like the series, don't ya? She also appears in Symposium in an article with Marissa detailing that the two of them were battling each other. She's appeared in Strange Creators of Outer World, Volume 2 in a cross-review section. One of the last appearances in print work is the fairly new Visionary. As of this making, there are 4 chapters. She was in the first chapter as a cameo and chapter 3 as a secondary character. As this series is still running and new, we don't know if she'll have more appearance, but given this work is focusing on the Three Fairies of Light and Clown Piece, I can imagine seeing Cirno a bit more. Personality. Cirno is a childish, confident fairy who appears to have a superiority complex in regards to others. That's an understatement. She proclaims herself to be the strongest on 3 separate occasions in Phantasmagoria. In the game's manual of the said game, she is labeled as 9, Baka, which translates to 9 equals an idiot. In an explanation of the game's screen layout, she was once again labeled as such in the manual for Hiso Tensoko. This implies that Cirno may be some kind of idiot. I mean, when the bloody creator of the series is blasting you, I'm sure there's a reason for it. An example of Cirno's stupidity would be this spell card Ice Sign Icicle Fall, which has a very obvious safe spot to easily dodge the Damaku on easy difficulty. Despite this, she is smart enough to know when she's in deep trouble, such as her battle against Yuka in Phantasmagoria story mode. Smart move, I'll give you that. She can also read, unlike some of her peers such as Mistia. Another bonus point, she can also count. She shows knowledge of rounding and fractions in Fairy Wars. That's actually pretty good considering you're a fairy. Among other things, she greatly enjoys using her abilities to freeze frogs, then watch it revive while thawing out in the water. However, about 1 in every 3 attempts fails, shattering the frogs to pieces. Ouch! Ice cold. Literally. This has earned her a warning from Reimu, who cautioned that she could be set upon Suiko for her actions. Yeah, it's usually best not to piss off a god. That could just be me though. General information / backstory. Cirno is a fairy that manipulates the cold. As a fairy, they're humanoid creatures that represent some aspect of nature. Many of them are also simple-minded. They tend to have short lives, but they will regenerate immediately after dying. That's pretty convenient, I can't lie. In the games themselves, the fairies are by far the most common general stage enemy in the Touhou project. The way they shoot Damaku all depends on what difficulty the player chooses and what stage they appear in. They can come in different kinds of colored dresses and hair, and can appear bigger than usual at times, such as the Sunflower Fairy. Titles. Cirno has a few titles, and I'll list them out. She's got Yokai of the Ice, Small Fairy of the Ice, Unnatural Chill, Fairy of the Ice, and Ice Fairy of the Lake. Unfortunately, she doesn't have the strongest title. That sucks. Abilities / powers. Let's look at Cirno's power. While she only has one, it's pretty cool. No pun intended. Cirno has the ability to manipulate cold to the point of being able to freeze water. However, even while saying manipulate, when coldness is an omitted state, it seems like her surroundings are chilly even in summer. She is even able to create blocks of icicles and ice within an instant. Since she served the role of the main character in Fairy Wars, she was able to freeze Damaku that came flying with her ability, but there was also some Damaku that were unable to be frozen. However, since it is actually an ability that only freezes things by removing heat and doesn't affect momentum, frozen things would keep traveling in an ice coat instead of stopping suddenly in midair. That may be just a gameplay feature though. How she exactly manipulates cold is unclear, but Raze in one of her quotes in Hiso Tensoko speculates that when Cirno does it, she warms up inside as a result. This would mean that she just absorbs the heat in the surrounding instead of creating cold from nothing. There's another thing we should discuss when it comes to Cirno, and it's her strength. In the games, as she generally only shows up as a stage 1 or 2 boss, she isn't that strong. In particular, fairies have an existence below that of humans. However, among fairies, she possesses unusually strong power. She was playable in Phantasmagoria and was able to defeat Reimu, Marissa, etc. The Ice Fairy doesn't fuck around. Technically, when she defeats Aya and Yuka, she didn't really defeat them as they appeared unhurt after battle, implying that it was Cirno who ran away. In Fairy Wars, even though she wins when she battled Marissa, the one whose illustration showed to be defeated was Cirno. It was a simple case of Marissa letting her guard down. In Perfect Memento, according to the other fairies, while such things are written as if she schemes, she is caught, so it is good even to refresh oneself of one's habitual anger. Among it, there does exist the warning if you meet her you should flee. Furthermore, Eiki commented on her saying, although you are a fairy, you possess great power. Since she goes beyond the limits of fairies, there may be the possibility of dying. Wow, you're so strong that you lose the perk of immortality. That's different. I'll give you that. If humans were to fight her gracefully, it would seem that the weapon would become frozen and it wouldn't be possible to win to begin with. But if you were to just run away, if we poke at the point that she's an idiot, we are able to run away immediately since she's not able to answer even simple riddles. So while she's not the weakest person you could fight, you can always trick her if it feels like things can get hairy. Music! Let's talk about Cirno's music. Since she barely has any, I'm going to be including the stage theme as well. Her stage 2 theme for EOSD is Lunet Elf. Her boss theme is Tomboyish Girl in Love, also in Hiso Tensoko. Her next track is from Phantasmagoria and it's called Adventure of the Love-Struck Tomboy. Gameplay. We'll start off with Phantasmagoria as that was the first game she was playable. When it came to her stats, Cirno's movement was average while her charge speed was below average. Her scope, which is the red indicator, is a small circle. She is rather fast when focused and has good scope generation speed. Her special ability is that activated spirits do no self-destruct as quickly as they do for others. Now that we've covered that part, let's look at her movesets. Cirno's charge 1 is Icicle Attack. A ring of icicles spawn from Cirno and expand outwards. Each icicle is an individual projectile. EX ability is Icicle Fall. EX abilities are abilities that try to put your opponents in a disadvantaged position. Icicle Fall has icicle appears at the top of the field, placing itself roughly, some horizontal variations, over, meaning directly up, of the enemy's position at the time of generation. When the EX moves over to the enemy side, it then gradually accelerates down and off the screen. The icicle generates as EX attacks will fall straight down, parallel to the side of the screens, but the ones generated by the boss may be slightly angled. To note, Cirno has an easier time generating EX attacks than most characters, which can come in handy. Her charge level 2 is Freeze Sign, Perfect Freeze. A circle composed of alternating dot bullets and blue ice bullets appear and begin expanding outwards. The circle itself starts in the upper third of the screen. After expanding for a bit, all on-screen bullets will freeze, be randomly redirected and advance slowly in the new direction. When the freeze happens, both players' fields will have all dot bullets and other regular bullets stopped and tinted grey. Note this does not apply to spirits or to some EX attacks, example Cirno's own icicles do not freeze, but Aki's vortex generated bullets will stop and redirect. This freeze also happens instantaneously and any bullets generated after the freeze proceeds normally. At higher levels, the circle expands faster and further before the freeze occurs. At sufficient high levels, possibly 13 plus, this spell card creates 2 concentric circles, though there is only one freeze point, timed off the first circle. Her charge level 3 is Freeze Sign Perfect Freeze. The only changes are no dot bullets, everything else can be applied to this. Her charge level 4 is Freeze Sign Cold Divinity. This is her boss tech and a bunch of bullets are flying your way. That's about it. The next game, Fairy Wars, is where things get real interesting. So the main gimmick is that the enemies are launching an insane amount of bullets. The strategy? Freeze those suckers in place. Yep, you heard me. Freeze them. Let's talk about how it works and how you'll be utilizing it to win the game. You can freeze normal bullets, the vast majority of what you'll see. Charge your ice barrier by holding the Z or Z freeze button, then let go. You'll envelop the immediate vicinity in ice. Nearby bullets will freeze, which causes bullets close to them to also freeze. If you do this correctly, then you can cause chain freezing the entire way up the screen, and it's always fun to do so when it works. Let's talk about ice barrier potency. Your ice barrier potency is the percentage displayed above Cirno's head. It charges slowly, similar to Aya's camera in the photography games. You can charge it faster by hitting enemies with rapid fire shots and by performing successful freezes. The percentage determines how powerful the effect of your ice barrier will be if you use it right at the moment. Using it at full 100% can easily freeze the entire contents of the screen when done right, whereas using it at 30%, the lowest charge you can use it at, affords barely any time to give you extra moment to think. So it's best to use it at 100% unless you absolutely need to use it to save a life. Let's talk about Cirno's bomb, per se. Perfect Freeze. Perfect Freeze, Cirno's spell card, freezes absolutely everything on screen that can be frozen normally and has the added effect of also freezing fireballs. You charge Perfect Freeze energy the same way you charge Ice Barrier energy, hitting enemies with rapid fire shots and performing successful freezes. Like mentioned, as long as you can charge it up, you have a sort of refillable bomb mechanic. There are some things you can't freeze and we should discuss it. You can't freeze fireballs, at least not with your standard ice barrier. The only resource you have that can freeze fireballs is Perfect Freeze. Fireballs will start appearing in stage 2 and you'll be reminded of their presence. You can't freeze lasers. In fact, lasers break ice, turning it into bullet shards that will hurt you. Lasers will start turning up in stage 3. You can't freeze beams, which are a hazard only present in the extra route. Ice will only act as a shield against them. Any time you spent in beams gradually drains Cirno's motivation. You may be asking what motivation is, which is something I'll discuss. Motivation in this game is like your life count. So long as you have motivation, you can continue freezing your enemies. 100% equals 1 life. How do you keep her motivated, you see? Shoot dumb fairies with no mercy and freeze bullets with her ice barrier. The max motivation is 1000% or 10 lives. Now she's a little motivated. There's also a level up system, believe it or not. There aren't any power items in this game, so instead, Cirno gains experience by defeating or freezing enemies. When she gains enough, she levels up and gains more firepower. Well, more like ice power, up to a maximum of level 16. On easy, you start at level 3, but on any other difficulty, you start the game at level 1. Let's work on the fighters, shall we? An ice fairy often sighted around the Misty Lake near the Scarlet Devil Mansion. She is exceptionally powerful for her kind, though she is quite childish and not the brightest fairy around. In this game, Cirno's strengths are her speed and her outstanding corner pressure game. Her small size and floating jump aid in her mobility, and she also has a long backdash helping her get out when necessary. She possesses some extremely fast melee moves, and her 5C is a great all-purpose bullet. Cirno's corner block strings are powerful. However, Cirno often has trouble cornering her enemy due to her lack of neutral tools. To play Cirno, one must master her combos and powerful block strings as well as be proficient at the movement needed to land them. Some of her pros are: possesses very fast normals, good mobility, great corner pressure, small hurt box, attacks have similar animations, adding to her mix-up game. Some of her cons, however, are poor projectiles, lackluster neutral game, very short range. A notable thing about Cirno is she floats when descending from a jump. The float is able to be directed left and right. Any air action will cancel it, so use it to your advantage if possible. Relationships. So for part 3, we'll be looking at Cirno's relationship with the cast throughout the series. Since we recently talked about Fairy Wars, let's mention the 3 Fairies of Light. All of the members of the 3 Fairies of Light, Sunny Milk, Luna Child, and Star Sapphire, are both a friend and an enemy of Cirno. With Luna, she is later seen with Cirno in Walden Horde Hermit, watching the Moria Shrine's cold fusion experiment in chapter 2. Another one would be Dayusei. Dayusei is first seen, presumably, associated with Cirno in Strange and Bright Nature Deity chapter 13, when both of them were playing hide and seek. After meeting and talking with the 3 Fairies of Light, Cirno appears to have completely forgotten about Dayusei. She was later seen attacking Cirno in Fairy Wars. When you forget about someone, don't complain when they get angry at ya. An association with someone whose power is similar is Letty Whiterock. Nothing is known about Cirno's relationship with Letty. She appears to dislike being grouped up with her as she explains her superiority when interviewed by Aya in Bohemian. She is also briefly seen talking to Letty during Silent Sinner. Guess they cool with one another? Let's talk about a few other yokais like Rumia, Rigo, and Mistia. Rumia, along with Rigo and Mistia, seem to get along and appear together to help during various events prepared by the 3 Fairies of Light. Although Rumia appears to be of no help, it is unknown whether they are friends or just happen to be at the same place at the same time. Another person would be Reimu. Reimu Hakure is one of Cirno's targets for her pranks in Oriental Sacred Place. She later helped the 3 Fairies of Light in supporting the Hakure Shrine against the Miyurin Temple. This next one isn't a person but a toad, believe it or not. Simply put, it's the toad that ate Cirno in Bohemian because she was freezing all the other toads. Fun facts! Let's delve into the more fun or interesting facts about Cirno. During the event of Phantasmagoria, many of the girls were trying to figure out why the flowers were blooming. I mentioned that Cirno didn't care about why the flowers were blooming and wanted to enjoy herself. While that's true, the cool part was that Cirno was one of the only few who knew what was going on, as a similar incident occurred 60 years ago. This information does give us some detail that Cirno at the very least is older than 60 years old. When it comes to appearances, Cirno is unique as she's the first Windows character to be on the cover of 2 game series, that being Hiso Tensoko and Fairy Wars. The only other who would be on the same boat would be Reimu and Marissa, although their cover appearance were in the PC98 games. Now Cirno is different in the aspect that she's the only named fairy who only has 1 word. Everyone else has 2 English words. Let's look at the name of the fairies. We got Lily White, Luna Child, Sunny Milk, Star Sapphire, and Clown Piece. While Clown Piece is 1 word, it did take 2 words to make that name. You may be asking, what about Dayusei? While it's true I left her out, there's a reason I did so. She's not a named fairy. If you didn't know, Dayusei was never originally Dayusei to begin with. The name wasn't given by Zune, but the fans instead, as she was just an unnamed mid-stage boss at the time. Once we started calling her that, it just sort of stuck. But yeah, enough about Dayusei. This is interesting facts about Cirno, not Dayusei. Another fun fact is that Cirno operates a business, if you can believe it. She sells shaved ice. Now that's using your ability to the fullest. Sometimes she's reasonable, selling sweet bean shaved ice, a popular dessert in Korea. But at least once, she went full dumbass by attempting to sell water flavored shaved ice. I'm going to let that sink in for you. Water flavored shaved ice. Understandably, nobody wanted to buy any. And you wonder why Zoom bloody blasted her all these times. Fanon stuff. The Fanon stuff, where things always get more crazy when it comes to the characters. Cirno is quite a popular character in Touhou among fans. Due to becoming a meme, Cirno is now one of the more popular characters of Touhou. Many fans now portray her, jokingly or seriously, as a misunderstood child, or even as an outright genius in disguise, or as a bumbling idiot who messes up what everyone else is doing. This is mainly due to fandom making references to her in non-related topics. You knew. You bloody knew this was going to pop up. The strongest number of all time, 9. Due to the infamous manual screenshot, Cirno has been nicknamed 9ball or simply 9. Cirno is known for her childish stupidity, so the term Cirno is often used instead of baka, which means fool, as a joke in the Japanese Touhou community. She is also sometimes associated with 9ball or the seraph version of Armored Core, famed in various ways, such as Cirno in its red and black colors for Mugen. It is famed because it is a difficult boss in any game it appears in. Hell, the meme is so real that she even has a date for herself. Fuck! Not even Reimu, the poster child of the series, has a date for her. The date, 09/09/09, Wednesday, September 9th, 2009, more specifically, has been named Cirno Day for obvious reasons. For some reason, numerous aspects of this day, everything could be translated into or connected with 9. For example, September 9th is the 252nd day of the year, and 2 plus 5 plus 2 equal 9. You need 9 letters to type Wednesday or September, and Japan's time zone is +9. Other names for this day include the strongest day and 9 day. Well shit, everything adds up to 9 it seems. It probably would have been better if this was the 9th profile video, but yeah, missed that one. Let's talk about Cirno's crew, Team 9. In fanworks, she is often seen with other lower level, childish characters such as Dayuse, Rumia, Mistia, and Rigo. In the English community, this group is known as Team 9 and are usually led by Cirno herself. Without Dayuse, the group is often called the Bakarette, a combination of baka and quartet. However, in the Touhou Sangetsu series, Cirno was seen playing with what presumably was Dayuse, and at another point she was seen with this group, excluding Dayuse, during gatherings involving the 3 fairies of light. In canon, whether they know each other or just coincidentally end up within the same gathering is unknown. Let's just say they do for the fun of it. Another important thing about Cirno would be that she's the strongest! Cirno's catchphrase in Dojin works, "I'm the strongest," comes from her dialogue in Phantasmagoria, in which she announces this in her scenario while being everyone else's stage 1 boss. She also says it when winning against herself in Phantasmagoria and Hiso Tensoko, in which case she says, "When it comes to me, I am the strongest." Technically speaking, she is correct, as weird as that may sound. In English, the phrase may sometimes be purposely corrupted in spelling. Example, I as in eyeballs, like I am the strongest, or I am the strongest. You can be the strongest, right after clown piece that is. Letty is also an important figure when it comes to fan-on stuff. In other fan works, she is shown with Letty Whiterock, who is considered as a close friend, guardian, or mentor. This is partly due to the fact that she appears as a mid-stage boss in Letty's stage in Perfect Cherry Blossom, and partly because they share similar abilities, the manipulation of cold temperature. Ironically, in her interview in Bohemian, Letty says that she doesn't want to be put on the same rank as Cirno mentioned earlier. But you got so much in common! Let's talk about some of the more miscellaneous stuff when it comes to Cirno. Because Cirno enjoys freezing frogs, many fans consider Suiko to have a rivalry with Cirno because of Suiko's relationship with frogs. And like I said, you don't want to piss off a god. Some fans have made connections with the PC-98 character Magi due to their similar fairy-like appearances and their manipulation of ice. She even has a palette in Hiso Tensoko that resembles Magi. Other fan versions of Cirno are Achi Cirno, Fire Cirno, Aikazu Cirno, Lightning Cirno, Mizu Cirno, Water Cirno, Cirno Ne, adult version of Cirno, and Avid Cirno, parody of Cloud Strife. Elemental Cirno with a sword, more like it. Ever since CNN featured the shadow art video Bad Apple, together with its stop motion counterpart, it has been named Cirno News Network by some of the Touhou fans, This is because of one reporter's incorrect assessment of the stop motion video as depicting how the CG shadow art video was made. Mistakes were made, that's for sure. Cirno in Finland is known as Cirno. I'll be posting the name on screen. Partly because it's a common Finnish female name and Finnish people have trouble pronouncing Cirno, or any variation of her name. One of the songs from the Homestruck webcomic series, Air Conditioning, uses parts of Cirno's theme in its composition. Air Conditioning is also composed in a very Touhou-esque style, including aspects such as elaborate piano parts and a trumpet probably meant to mimic the so-called zoom pits. Small traces of Oku's theme can also be heard. The name of the piece is also a pun on air conditioning. Western fans have noticed that her phantasmagoria depiction resembles a pose as though she is an American rapper due to the way she has her hand. Now I want to see Cirno spit some verses. Pairings. Now when you listen to the relationship part, you know there wasn't a lot. Surprisingly, when it comes to fan works, she's got a shit ton of pairings. Hell, I think it's even more than Reimu and Marissa. Holy fuck. But anyway, let's get it started. We'll start off with the Shrine Maiden, Reimu and Cirno, or Reichiru. The most popular pairing involving Cirno is actually with Reimu, since Cirno is often seen with Reimu being bullied as a 9. In most versions of the pairing, however, Reimu acts as an older sister. The next pairing will involve another fairy, Daiusei. Cirno and Daiusei, or Dai-Chiru. Despite no certain connection between the two, the fact that they appear on the same stage has led some people to couple the two together. When it comes to the fandom, you'll see practically every kind of pairing. The phrase Dai-Chiru ga ore no icicle fall, Dai-Chiru is my icicle fall, is commonly used to declare support for this pairing. Another popular one is Leti and Cirno, or Reti-Chiru. Yeah, it's actually spelled like that. I don't know why, to be honest. Maybe Japanese people don't use L? In fanon, Cirno looks up to Leti as a motherly or big sister figure whom Cirno can only see in winter, while Cirno exists in Gensokyo year-round. The phrase Reti-Chiru wa Yuki no Keishu, Leti-Chiru is my snowflake, is commonly used to express support for this pairing. Snowflake for days. Another would be Meiling in Cirno, or Mei-Chiru. It is commonly said that the place where Meiling holds guard is a place where children are helped and taken care of by a gentle One-san. Sure, why not? One of the more stranger one I've seen as of yet is Flandre in Cirno, or Chirufura. There's nothing connecting the two, but both are seen as childish sometimes, so they are also commonly depicted as being playmates. I mean, Cirno's got the fairy immortality, so that can come in handy. Next up would be Aya in Cirno, or Aya-Chiru, comes from the events following Cirno's phantasmagoria scenario. The phrase Aya-Chiru wa ori no kumin iji, Aya-Chiru is my 9th page article, is commonly used to declare support for Aya-Chiru. It's a catchy phrase, I'll give you that. Another pairing will be Yuka and Cirno, or Yu-Chiru. Although there is nothing canon to connect the two, Yuka is often seen caring for Cirno in a motherly fashion, much like in Yuka and Wriggle. A fun pairing coming next would be Moku and Cirno, or Moku-Chiru, mainly due to their contrasting natures of fire and ice. That's about it. It's something. What's better, or worse, depending on how you look at it, than one idiot? Well, another one. Cirno and Oku. Due to the fact that their powers are polar opposites, fire and ice, and the fact they are both portrayed as stupid, it also serves as the basis for their cold fusion pun. And 69, 6 representing Oku and 9 Cirno. And to finish the pairing, we can't forget the goddess Suiko. Cirno freezes frogs, and Suiko has relationships to frogs. This often causes them to fight, with Suiko winning most of the time. I'm not surprised about the outcome, to be honest. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this character profile for Cirno. What facts or info about Cirno did you enjoy the most? Did you like how the creator himself kept blasting Cirno? Do you think Cirno can upgrade from being just a fairy? Or do you think Cirno will ever appear in another game as a playable character? Hello, Magi here, and if you just watched, then that was my character profile for Cirno. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. So I wanted to make something just to note because I don't think I did a face cam or webcam with a character profile video yet. So When it came to Cirno, she wasn't, in fact, she wasn't supposed to be the next person to show up because in my character profile back for Sanae, I mentioned that there was a voting, right? So the one who won was Raisin, not Cirno. So you may be asking why I did that. The reason being is at the time of making the Sanae video, right? We didn't, I can't remember if I learned if I remember if the urban legend announcement for Raisin was announced at the time or not. So either way, whenever I made the video, I wasn't for sure. No, I was ignorant to the fact that more facts about Raisin was gonna come out. So that's why I was debating if I wanted to make a character profile for Raisin, but exclude the facts for her. So then that would leave her some stuff out, especially when the game came out, or do I just work for the next most popular character voted, which was Cirno. So after some discussion, so after some thoughts about it, I decided I will go with Cirno. That way I'll have a full character profile because I don't think there's any new info related to Cirno. The most I can get is Visionary, which I did include in that character, in the character profile you saw. So any facts about Cirno with Visionary was added to that because that was the newest thing. And then with Urban now out and translated, I've used that info. I can use that info and put it in. Do note that the character profile Raisin is being worked on as I'm recording this, because the thing is, I finished the video of Cirno. I started working on the Cirno video back in December, which was before I believe the announcement came out. Let me check again when the PS4 version of Urban Legend came out. Okay, so the Urban Legend came out in December 8th, which was fine because the Cirno video was supposed to be finished December 2nd, so I wouldn't have had the Raisin video, any facts about her yet, so that works fine in terms of timeline wise. So that's why you have Cirno first, in case you're wondering, because if you go back to the video, you'll probably see that Raisin has the most votes. So that's why I'm just letting you guys know in advance why the voting seemed a little off. It's because I wanted to give a more conclusive, a full detail breakdown of a character profile. So that's why I skipped Raisin, put Cirno instead, and now I'm gonna do Raisin. So right now I am working on Raisin, and when Raisin's done, I will no doubt be showcasing that. So since I have one is done, which is Cirno as you're watching, and the second one is being worked on pretty well. You'll have one pretty back to back, which would mean that I can have to work on the next one pretty soon. So yeah, just letting you guys know that in advance. So the Cirno video was supposed to be made with my 1,000 subscriber video, but circumstances came arise that did not allow me to do so, which will be explained in a different video, just in case you're wondering. Do not worry about that. But just regardless, this video was made in the hopes to celebrate 1,000, but it's a little too late for that since I'm at 1,300, so too lazy about that. So you get the character profile of Cirno, which is good, and just my reason why Cirno is up there instead of Raisin. And then now you have a more conclusive character profile of Raisin when it comes out, which I'm pretty happy because I had to wait a bit and then look it up, and I'm pretty happy with the facts I've gotten for Raisin. So we'll be working on that pretty well. So that's everything for the character profile. Be prepared for Raisin once that's done. And like always, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the character profile, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So have a good time.